So now we want to join the part to our dovetail base and adapt our dovetail base to be the right size. So to do that, we actually go back into Sketch 3. And what we're going to do is join this to this using a tab. So when you're machining, you typically leave a little tab, a very thin tab, so that then when you finish that machining, you can just wobble the part and it'll snap off and it'll leave a very, very slight mark on your part. And if it's like I positioned in here, it'll be on the face of the part where it doesn't matter that you've got a little bit of a mark. So the first thing we want to do is edit Sketch 3. So hit edit sketch, and then we want to draw in our tab. So we know this tab wants to be this side, it doesn't want to be this side. So draw it down like that, and everyone will have their personal preference for thickness. I'm going to say 0.3. I'm going to give it a length of 4. Well, actually I put it in as 3+1, and the reason I put it in as 3+1 is because I use a 3mm diameter cutting tool, and then I'm giving myself a 1mm clearance. So it just tells me if I ever look at this dimension, oh, I'm using a 3mm tool here, or planning to use a 3mm tool here, and then I'm giving myself a millimeter of clearance. So you don't want your tab to go all the way down, because then it will be really long and bendy. So what you want to do is draw some stock underneath it. So I'll bring this down. Put that to there, and that to there. I don't like these constraints. I prefer to use horizontal and vertical constraints. And then what I need to do is set the width of these. So actually I'll make this coincident to there first. Press F1 again, and I need to set a dimension for these. So I'm going to set this dimension as 11, and the reason for doing that is because I use a tool stick out from the spindle of 12mm for a 40mm length of tool. And I'm typically using data and single flute tools, so they're not quite as rigid as some of the 2 flute tools, but they cut really well if you don't give them too much stick out. You can go up to 15mm with the larger diameter tools, so the 3mm and 4mm tool, but I always try and stay at 12 where possible. So this means that a 12mm stick out can come in here and the spindle will still have a millimeter of clearance before it hits here, so you'll be fine. On this side you don't need to worry about it, so you can actually delete that and go up to the edge. So the spindle will come in here, you'll machine this face away first, and then that means for this cut in here the spindle can come in and take out the material without hitting. Whilst I'm in this sketch, I'm also going to make one slight change. So I'm just going to hide the DM12 dovetail block and the dovetail base for a moment. And I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to... My laptop's freezing a bit while I film, so I'm getting a bit of lag. Hit that as a horizontal constraint. Right, and you'll see why I've done that in a moment. So I'll finish sketch. And then what I'm going to do is make the dovetail base and the DM12 visible again. And I want to make this base and part into one component now. So within Dovetail Setup, I'm going to create a new component. I'm going to call it Finished Part. Okay, and then I'm going to take the dovetail base. I'm going to copy it by pressing Ctrl C. I'm going to click on this and press Ctrl V to paste it. And I'm going to turn the dovetail base off. I don't need that to be visible anymore. And then I'm going to do the same for the part here, the locator part. Select it, press Ctrl C, click in here, press Ctrl V. There you go, and then I'm going to make that hidden again. So both of those parts are now copied and within this finished part, within the same component. So I need to join the two. So now I've got the part selected. I'm going to select Extrude. I'm going to go dit, 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 dit. And I need to extrude these out from object, bring sketch 4 up. So I want to go from the edge of the stock to the edge of the stock on this side. There we go. And then I'm going to do another extrude. And this is for the tab. So let's just go symmetric and let's say, I don't know, 4 millimeters either side, maybe a little bit more, 5. So that's the tab. I close that, and you see the dovetail doesn't quite come out to the end. So I'm going to extrude this side and pull it out to here. Press OK. And do the same for the other side. Press OK. And as you'll see, those bodies are now joined to create one body. So there is one more thing that I like to do when preparing my dovetail base. Not everyone will want to do this, but I just think it makes it neater. Because I like all surfaces that are going to be near to or in contact with the DM12 to be machined. So what I do is I come back and I edit sketch 3. And I draw a line from here to here. And here to here. And what I'm doing is I'm just putting a lip, that shouldn't be to the midpoint. I'm putting a lip all the way around the bottom. Just a very, very small lip. And it's going to be 0.5 millimeters, so D 0.5, make this vertical, and 0.5 again, and then finish that sketch. And now what I'm going to do is extrude. Make this visible again, so it's going to go from here to here, and it's going to cut. Okay, and then extrude again. Oh, actually, I need to edit sketch 3 and do a line across the bottom there. Actually, cancel that. Finish sketch, I can do it this way. Hide this. So go from here, and distance is 0.5. Cut like that, and then extrude. Gonna go from here, from here, 0.5. Cut like so, and then you can follow up by taking that and extruding it to the cut again, like so. Do the same again on this side. So you can just hit right click, repeat extrude. So from there to object, cut again, hit OK. So not everyone will want to do that, but it's just what I like to do. And I've also just realized that I set the spindle clearance to this point here, whereas I've got the tab in now, so I need to set the clearance to this point rather than up there. So I'll go back into sketch 3, edit. So yeah, there's 13.5, which is the spindle width divided by 2. So I need to set that as being that height now. So I'm going to just escape out of there. I'm going to actually, I'll just copy that, then escape. Now delete it. Press D on my keyboard to bring up dimension. Select and then paste. Enter. There you go. So you're getting a bit of wasted stock here, but it's really not much for small parts. You're talking pennies rather than pounds, and it just makes machining so much easier, and you just comfortable that you're not going to hit anything down here, and you save so much time not having to plan for spindle clearance down here. Just buy a little bit extra stock, and this bottom lump will go to waste. It's what I do. It makes it far easier, and I recommend doing it that way. As I actually started out trying to locate the part as low as possible, meaning I used as small a piece of stock as possible, but I was spending ages having to think about how to get my spindle to clear and using different tool paths to try and make sure there wasn't a collision. And to save a few pennies on stock, it didn't make sense. Obviously, if you're producing hundreds or thousands of these parts, it would make sense, but most people using the Pocket NC aren't using it for that. They're just doing one-off prototypes and so on. So yeah, for that purpose, just use extra stock. It just makes life easier. But if you have a larger part, and you don't have a choice other than to bring it low down so that it all fits in the work envelope, then I just recommend leaving the area underneath, and then machine that out in a second operation, which you'd ordinarily do in the fixture plate setup, and I'll show you how to do that in an upcoming video. So I'm now going to hit Finish Sketch. I'm going to hide this, make the finished part visible, and you'll see that we end up with our finished part with the tab. So that is what we will get after machining.